Before I begin, I want to acknowledge that choosing to heal is a privilege, and especially being able to give to myself this experience at such a young age. And I am so grateful I got to experience this. It has been 3 weeks since I came out of the Hoffman process, and you're probably wondering what that experience is like. So without further ado, let's get into it. The Hoffman process is a week-long intensive retreat. It was founded by Bob Hoffman in 1967 and is really designed to first understand the unconscious limiting patterns that we adopted from childhood, from our caregivers, parents, and then to heal them and actually start living life as our authentic self. Bob refers to this adoption of patterns as the negative love syndrome, which you can read more about on their website. The retreat also focuses on 2 more big concepts, the first one being the quadrinity model, which is the 4 aspects of a human being. It involves the emotional, the intellectual, the physical, and the spiritual. And the other concept is called the cycle of transformation, which is the path from old patterns to new ways of being. And if you're wondering, this is absolutely not a cult. It is not affiliated with any religion, but I would say it is spiritual. This retreat is very experiential, so expect a lot of group discussions, both big and small, as well as lots of individual work because it is your own journey after all. Also expect visualizations, embodiment exercises, as well as physical activities, so be prepared for that. At the retreat, they also take away your phones, no books, you can't meditate, and you're really just present with yourself and 39 others in my case. As age range, I was the youngest going in at 24, but there are people in their 30s all the way to their 80s. Accommodations wise, the food is great, the dorm reminds me of college, and they really do pack in this schedule. I remember getting up before 7, going to bed around 10. Obviously there are breaks in between, but you really just get deep into it, and it's all just planned so meticulously, and it really is a process. And finally, for the location, I went to the one in California in Petaluma, but they also have some in Connecticut, Canada, and other parts of the world. To give you a little context, my brother went to the Hoffman a couple years ago, which was how I knew about it, but I honestly was not planning to go in my 20s at all. But for the past couple years, I had been doing my own healing work, whether that was talk therapy, a lot of introspections, reflections. I've tried plant medicine, Kundalini activation recently, a whole lot of self-help books, even consulting ChatGPT, which I don't know is useful. But honestly, I was just stuck in awareness hell. As a hyper-aware person, I noticed how I kept repeating these same cycles and same patterns just through different people. And I knew where they stemmed from. And I felt like I was living life watered down. I was constantly people pleasing, staying small. I was terrified of being seen, and I just felt so fake. Like I was living life through different masks, and I genuinely did not know who I was. This was really impacting my relationships, the lack thereof romantic relationships, my career. I knew I had money blocks. I was very burnt out. It was affecting my health, my personal life, my goals. And I really just held so much shame, especially my neck and shoulders. And like I said, I knew it stemmed from my childhood. I knew the pattern stemmed from my parents. And honestly, I was just so fucking sick of being small, of being stuck. And I just really needed help. And so earlier this year in February, I booked it 9 months in advance, booked it in October, the same week as my 25th birthday, as a gift for myself. In the beginning, I was very anxious to do it with 39 other people. It just felt very scary, very vulnerable. My brother also didn't tell me too much about what went in there, and so I went in kind of blind. At the process, they also had a rule where we could not talk about what we did for work. We couldn't talk about the news, the politics. And so day by day, I just got to connect with my lovely classmates on such a deep human soul level, and we got to bond and just make amazing new friends. In my personal experience, I got to face the deepest, darkest, ugliest parts of myself. I had to face them head on, and most times it was in front of other people, which made me feel so naked, but also very seen and understood like I've never had before. This was surprisingly also the very first time I felt anger, because I had it so repressed in me. But during the process, it all came rushing out. It was truly so powerful. And I really did get to experience and sit with these uncomfortable emotions, the anger, the grief, the shame, sadness, guilt, jealousy, almost every emotion, I will say. And only by going through that darkness, I felt like I was able to fully experience the light, the love, the compassion, forgiveness for not just myself, but more importantly for my parents. I can't put into words, but there was just so much magic during the process. Every single day, every hour, I never knew what I was gonna get myself into, and that was the beauty of it. And again, I will note, this is not just a retreat, this really is a whole process. There's so many nuanced layers to it. I believe the reason I felt such a huge transformation was because I really trusted it and just went all in. And overall, I'm so grateful I got to experience what I did. I'm so grateful for my classmates, and especially the teachers who have so much passion, so much energy, and they really supported me throughout my journey as well. And although this was very deep, intensive, emotional work, I still felt like I was nourished, like we had good food, we were taken care of. Self-care was definitely a priority. And that space that we all shared, it was so tender, it was so safe, and so sacred. One thing to note is even though we complete the process, the integration is also very important. And so that weekend, I spent it in Sausalito. I did more post-process work during that weekend, and I honestly just stayed away from as much stimulation as I could. And because going back to our daily routines and our daily lives can be such a drastic transition. Something I've noticed within myself post-process is I feel so much more open. I feel so much more loving, especially towards myself and towards my family. And obviously with the highs comes the low, because this is still a journey post-process. So many ebbs, so many flows. I'm not gonna lie, there are days where I still fall back into my patterns. This past week has been especially hard for me because I really just kind of crashed. It feels like I just opened up this Pandora's box of all this stuff, and there's just no going back from there. The amazing thing is they do give you the tools to support even post-process, and as I've been using the tools regularly, I notice such a difference in how I respond now. I realize I'm not my patterns, and now I know who I am. I accept who I am, and I love who I am. The dark sides of me, the light parts, I love my whole self just as I am. I've also been keeping in touch with my lovely classmates. We have a whole WhatsApp group, and last week we had a reunion call which just brought me back to that same space. They also provide a post-process call with your teacher, and there's also grad groups in different cities, and I love that I still feel a part of a community. With all that said, I highly recommend the Hoffman Process to anyone who is truly serious about change. If you are willing to trust the process, to lean in and experience it fully, even in times of what the fuck am I doing here, I would say go for it, because I'm pretty sure if I were to do this experience another time, it would just not be the same as the first time I did it. This process has been truly so transformative for me. It is worth every penny. And finally, I hope this video helps. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'm happy to try to answer them. I hope to make an updated video in a year just to see where I'll be. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.